Hi, this is Edward, sonsofgod.com. It's Saturday, September 15th, 2012. And this is just a short update. Probably do a number of words today. Probably they're all going to be kind of a soup to nuts, random. I'm sure you're used to the words I bring. They tend to be kind of a little bit random. But I wanted to just quickly post this. We get emails every day from different ones, and just to kind of confirm that there are definitely some shifts happening. Different ones are experiencing some different changes, and I just want to encourage everyone that there definitely are some shifts happening in the realm of spirit and in the realm of the physical, and so yeah. The word that came many years ago to us was that as we got closer and closer to the transition, that not only would the conflict escalate, which it has, but the intensity of the connection is going to become so much stronger than our physical bodies really are going to be able to handle. And by virtue of that, we will need to change. And so that's very interesting, because when you stop and you realize that everything is vibration, the kingdom is vibration. You know, it talks about how the Father and the Christ dwell in unapproachable light, and we ourselves, bearer of the light, sons of our Father of lights. The vibration of everything is such a mystical thing to understand, and I'm not really going to try and make a lot of organized words here. There's 4 or 5 things. I'm just going to talk about them, and just whatever happens. But we are vibrational creatures. Everything about us is vibration, and as we press through the veil, it is putting a tremendous amount of taxing upon the physical body to handle the intensity, and we don't even understand this. We don't understand this. I mean, how do you understand something you haven't walked in before, or just in a measure? But I know this is what's happening. This is what's unfolding, and that's why our bodies and the various symptoms we feel are becoming a little bit more acute, or at least they seem a little bit more acute. I will say a couple things in this word here. A word came about a month ago about earnest expectation, and I know that we've read the scriptures about earnest expectation, but there's something new that's happening in the spirit right now, and that is an impartation of a spirit of expectation. And it's fascinating when you stop and you extract from the kingdom and from the spirit all of these what I call esoteric concepts, theoretical things, things that just don't seem to make a lot of sense, and you realize that everything has substance and reality. So when we talk about a spirit of expectation, it's not just something welling up in our heart of something of a deeper anticipation, but it is an appearing of the spirit of expectation that's working within our hearts. And I know that when you read the scriptures and talks about the angels and different ones are given to minister to us, quote unquote, the heirs of salvation. It's not sure where that is, Corinthians, Romans. And all of these various spirits are here to minister to us. And I was reading some old notes, and I wanted to just say this, a couple things here. These are some really old notes, but it's important for God's people to know that they have friends out there in the world of futility who are waiting for them to come forth as mature sons. It's a time of destiny, a time of the revealing of the sons, Satan comes against them because God is going to bring them into sonship in a very realistic way. Creation's on the sidelines, earnestly expecting the sons to come forth because they are the key to their deliverance. I know we've talked about this, we've probably driven this into the ground, but so much about everything that we're dealing with right now is a plateau of awareness. God says, come up higher. We're living in the time of the parousia. And maybe that wasn't part of your vocabulary 5 years ago, 10 years ago, I don't know. But the parousia is the appearing, the presence of the Lord in the earth. I was going back through some old notes and books and things. If you go back and you look at how people walked 100 years ago, and 500 years ago, 40, 50, 60 years ago, some of them would devote their entire life seeking God, only to finally get a breakthrough, maybe at the very end of their life. The availability of God was so much less, because it wasn't the time of the parousia. And I look at the accounts of how they lived, how they fasted, what they did to their bodies as they sought the face of the Lord, and how little they got. Yet at that time it was great. But in this time of the parousia, what we can tap into in a moment would have taken them a lifetime. And I don't know if we recognize that or realize that, because we've kind of grown up in this time of the fat, of the availability of the presence of God. But it hasn't always been this way throughout history. It's only been in this time, the last 30, 40 years, whatever it's been, the time of his parousia, his appearing in the earth, and all of a sudden the Lord, there's an availability of the Lord. So what I'm talking about here is just an awareness that is dawning upon us. And I just say, Lord, hasten the awareness. You know, the scripture says, till the day star rises in your heart, so on and so forth. So much of what we struggle against is our unawareness, our inability to recognize the signs and the times. And so we labor. Even all of us at this point in time, we still labor because we're not aware of the provision of what has already been made available. And I know that is something that must happen in a quickening of the Lord to us, and a removal of the veil. There have been so many in the last 10 years here, that have come to us. And I know, and they've come and said, gee, are you the one, that we've been waiting for? And so they come knowing that there is a time in God where the futility is going to lift. That all of creation is under futility. Us, the people that live in different levels of the kingdom, the elemental spirits, all of it is under futility. You stop and you just think about that for a minute. Everything is under futility. And there's only one provision for creation. There's only one provision for all of God's kingdom: to step out of futility, including the cloud of witnesses. And that's you and I. That's what God is presently doing in the earth, right here, right now, in a nucleus of sons that he has sent, however many there may be. Upon us rests this mantle to see a change come. We call it break the tape, break the mortality barrier, enter into this change of life. Yet so much more, because it's really freeing all of God's creation who have been in travail with us for a long time. And we've struggled with an awareness. We struggled with understanding how much is available to us. And I know we still don't know. We still don't understand. Because if we did, we'd be able to grab it instantly. and I don't mean to put this off in the future, because this is happening now. We're experiencing this. The veils are coming off. The awareness is happening. The morning star, day star, is rising in our hearts. It's a new day, and a whole new level of awareness of what we walk in, the time that we walk in, the availability of the Lord to us, and just who we are. Really, just who we are. So, I just we'll dive into some more stuff here. I'll put up 2 or 3 more, and mostly just kind of brain dumping here, just talking a little bit. I know that we're looking for a breakthrough, and I do not believe the breakthrough is a progressive, gradual thing. I think the progressive, gradual has been the working of the cross and the preparing of God's sons for the time where God breaks through upon them and changes them. And this is where we are. So we'll get another word out here